fought the fight, breaking down the walls in the dead of night. I don't come for peace, I come for the storm. Fanboys melt quick when the truth gets warm. Saw content's high, I'm collecting those tears. Just got started, but I'm cutting through fears. I'm not here for brand deals, I'm not for sale. I expose your lies, rip off the veil.
Well folks, Valve continues to show why they have become one of the greediest and most anti-consumer companies in gaming with the ridiculous pricing of the Steam machine. But before we get into all that, if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming content. And please everyone hit the like button and smash the hype button as well. It really helps out channels like mine to continue to grow and stand up to the greedy corporations and the toxic influencers who constantly run damage control for them. With that out of the way, let's get into it. There is absolutely no way these prices are justified. $1,049 for the base 512 model? And that's before you even add a controller. If you actually want the complete experience Valve is advertising, you're looking at over $1,100 for the entry-level package. Then you jump up to the 2TB model and suddenly you're staring down the barrel of a $1,350, or nearly $1,450 once you add the controller. At that point, Valve isn't selling a gaming system anymore. They're selling a luxury product to people who have completely lost touch with what value actually means. What's even crazier is that the hardware itself doesn't come close to justifying that kind of price. Yes, the specs are decent, but there is nothing here that screams a $1,000 plus gaming machine. You're getting a 6-core Zen 4 processor, an RDNA 3 GPU, 16 gigs of DDR5 memory, and a 512 gig SSD. Those are solid specs, but they're not magical. They're certainly not enough to justify a price tag that makes this thing cost more than a PS5 and a Switch 2 combined. Think about that for a second. You could literally buy both major consoles, have access to thousands of games, and still spend less money than Valve was asking for this little cube. The value proposition completely falls apart the moment you start comparing it to the competition. A Switch 2 gives you access to Nintendo exclusives, portability, and a much lower entry cost. A PS5 gives you far more raw power, a massive library of games, and costs hundreds less. Even if you're someone who prefers PC gaming, this machine still doesn't make sense because you can build your own PC for far less and end up with the significantly better hardware. They have pre-builts that are cheaper than the 2TB model and will outperform the thing in every way. And not only would you get more performance, but you also get the freedom to upgrade parts down the road instead of being locked into whatever Valve decides to put inside this box. The controller situation makes it even worse. Valve wants over $1,000 for the system, yet they still couldn't be bothered to include a controller in the package. That's the kind of thing you expect from a company trying to squeeze every last dollar out of its consumer. Imagine buying a console and then being told you need to spend another $80 just to actively use it in the way it was intended. It's ridiculous. At these prices, a controller should be included in every single model without question. The entire product feels completely disconnected from reality. For years, PC gamers love to talk about how much better value PC gaming was compared to consoles. Well, where is that value now? A $1,049 entry-level Steam machine and a $1,349 premium model are not consumer-friendly products. They're overpriced boxes aimed at people who will buy anything with the Steam logo slapped on it. The sad part is that Valve probably knows they can get away with it because a portion of the community will defend literally anything they do. But when you strip away the branding and look at the actual numbers, this is one of the worst hardware value propositions we've seen in forever. Now it gets worse because we finally have performance reviews for this thing and the results are an absolute disaster. When Valve revealed these prices, maybe you were willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe your thinking was simple. Maybe the Steam machine would justify that insane price tag by delivering performance that completely blows away the consoles. Well, that didn't happen. The problem is that we're talking about a system that costs over $1,000 once you factor in a controller and taxes. For that kind of money, this thing should be destroying a base PS5 in every comparison. Instead, we're seeing games where the PS5 is matching it or outright beating it in some cases. The Steam machine is even running on lower resolution just to stay competitive. That's crazy when you're paying hundreds more for that hardware. What really stands out is the inconsistent performance. Frame rates are constantly jumping jumping around instead of delivering the smooth experience you would expect from a premium gaming machine. If you're charging luxury prices, gamers expect luxury performance. That's not what we're seeing here. Instead, the Steam machine often looks like it's struggling to justify its existence against hardware that costs far less. And before the fanboys start saying it's a PC and can do more than a console, that's missing the point entirely. The main reason people are buying a Steam machine is to play games on their TV. If gaming is the primary purpose of the device, then gaming performance is what matters most. Nobody's spending over $1,000 on this thing because they want another desktop computer sitting in their living room. The value proposition completely falls apart when you compare it to the competition. For less money, you could buy a PS5 and a Switch 2 and still have cash left over. That's what makes this performance result so damaging. You can literally build your own PC for far cheaper and better. At the cost of the 2TB model, you can buy yourself a pre-built PC cheaper and will outperform the Steam machine. All those options have way more value to them than the Steam machine does. Valve seriously has lost the plot when it comes to hardware. If the Steam machine was delivering a massive leap over consoles, maybe the price would be easier to defend. But when a $600 PS5 is keeping pace with or outperforming a machine that costs nearly twice as much, it's hard to see this as anything other than a damn scam. And oh boy does it get worse, because Valve just had to open up their mouths when it comes to the damn criticism. This is what they said. If there's anything we're religious about at Valve, it's our belief that open systems are better in the long run for ourselves and customers. The openness of PC ecosystem in particular has enabled it to be the primary driver of hardware and software innovation, because anyone with an idea for a way to do something better was able to take a shot at it. When companies sell their hardware under cost for competitive advantage or buy exclusive content for it, they're doing that to build a more closed system, one where you don't get to choose what software you want to use. Valve, you are so full of shit. Before I get into this though, don't you have exclusive Valve games on Steam anyways? Just saying, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain you do. But Valve, for almost a month now, I have heard that the Steam Deck was sold at cost or even at a loss because you supposedly cared more about getting people into the Steam ecosystem than making huge profits on hardware. That has literally been the excuse for your guys' terrible ass price hike on the Steam Deck right now. But now that the Steam machine is here, that philosophy seems to have disappeared overnight. You can't spend all this time telling people you're different from the rest of the industry and then turn around and charge over $1,000 fucking dollars for some new outdated hardware. If selling hardware at a cost was such a great idea for the Steam Deck, why isn't it a great idea now? Either Valve abandoned that mindset, or they realized they could charge their fan base far more money and get away with it. The whole argument that open platforms and consumer choice also falls apart when the entry price is this ridiculous. Most gamers aren't looking at a $1,000+ machine and thinking about the benefits of an open ecosystem. They're looking at their wallets and realizing they can get better value elsewhere. And I really hope this thing flops. Sure, some diehard Valve fans and content creators will buy one, but I don't see the mainstream audience showing up for this. The Steam Deck has already flopped. It can't even surpass the Wii U or the damn Dreamcast for crying out loud. But somehow Valve is going to think that this is going to work? Give me a fucking break. Now, before I go, I just want to give a little mention to a certain Console Warrior fanboy. For those of you who don't know who this is Joe from Seattle. Him and I do very similar content where we call out anti-consumer practices that hurt gamers, but unfortunately, he seems to have lost his way and has reverted back to his default settings, console warring over complete nonsense like exclusives. My guy, there are real anti-consumer problems that gamers are facing right now. It's been weeks and you haven't called out Valve for their greedy anti-consumer price hike on the Steam Deck, and I seriously doubt you're going to do it with the Steam machine either. At some point, you need to let go of that old Xbox console warrior mindset and focus on the issues that actually matter to consumers. Stop being afraid to call out your daddy Valve. Grow a spine for once and start holding them accountable the same way you would any other company. You're starting to remind me of the Nintendo influencers from last year who refused to stand up for the Nintendo community when it mattered most. We all know how that turned out. A lot of those channels took a massive hit, spent months trying to recover, and some still haven't even fully bounced back yet. You better hope the Steam community doesn't eventually wake up and get tired of Valve's anti-consumer behavior, because if that happens, all that damage control in the world isn't going to save your credibility. Gamers are willing to put up with a lot, but eventually they reach a breaking point. When that day day comes, the creators who spent their time defending every bad decision instead of speaking honestly are going to be the ones paying the price. And also, we got this good little dumbass called Spec, and he got all up in his fifis because I was making fun of Valve releasing that damn price of the Steam machine. He's like, your AI generated thumbnails are one of the reasons why prices are that ridiculous. I generally don't want to hear from you, dude. Well, guess what, Spec? I don't give a fuck what you want to hear. If you have a problem with it, then do something about it. But we all know you ain't gonna do anything. You ain't about that life. Everyone can tell you're not built for this. And if you're going to complain about me using AI in my thumbnails and claim that I'm contributing to this crisis, then you better go after the rest of the salt miners too, because almost all of them are using it for their thumbnails as well. In fact, most of them already been exposed for doing it, but we both know you're not going to go after them. This little temper tantrum is really just because you don't like the fact that I call out your preferred piece of plastic. That's what this really is about. It has nothing to do with AI, principles, or any of the other excuses you're trying to hide behind. Honestly, someone really needs to put a muzzle on him before he embarrasses the community even more. But the next time a topic comes up that you're clearly not qualified to speak on, maybe you should just stay in your lane and learn your fucking place. You should really focus on what you actually know and stop inserting yourself into conversations that are way above your pay grade. And that's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you're notified every time I upload or go live. I usually live stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings here in the US. So come through, hang out, and watch me get absolutely abused because of my skill issues in certain games. You'll have a great time. Also, check out the Discord down in the description if you want to be a part of the community. And my merch store is there too if you want to grab some awesome gear. And why don't you guys think about becoming a member? It's only $1 a month. You get access to special emotes, badges, and your name will get shouted out at the end of every video until it becomes too long, and then I will have it like a credit roll. Until next time, folks, stay vigilant and take care. And now it's time to read off the members of the channel. We got Koros Objective, Maximilian Pegasus 88, Oh No It's Justin, Camero, J Wesby 65, Geezer Noob, Dustin 360, Johnny Bones Jones, Bunny Keese, A1K 300, Pokefan, Jake Spider Monkey, The Fat Man 5647, Dylan Howe Telling, Charlotte Jackson, Elijah Morris, It's Varion, MS Velvet Crow, Ilias, MBK Laura Boss Killer, Vetful Zexel, Fabulous Robbie Rotten, Salty Scoop, Devontae Carter, Justin Sane, The More Incredible Grimlock, The Oxidizer, Back Edge, Ricka Storm, Angel Kitten, Digital Foxhound, Armel, Luigi Gang, Sonic Gamer #1 TPC, Kenneth K. Power Z, Frosted Haze, and Raven Chaos Kaiju BT. Thank you so much for being a part of the crew.
You can cry in the comments, but you won't survive. Like and subscribe if you feel that vibe. We're